It's happened again, man. First, the Champions League knockout rounds have been incredible, haven't they? The amount of goals, the tension, and some surprises along the way. And this match definitely had some surprises in it. To start, a mishit from Capoue put the ball on a plate for Dia to convert and make it 1-0 on the night, 2-1 on aggregate after just 3 minutes. And Liverpool were a little bit rattled to start things off. As I said in the live stream we were doing during the match, Liverpool can get rattled and play poorly for periods of time within a match, and they would have expected to have to suffer away to Villarreal, but they almost always bounce back at some point. And given their clinicality, that's why they've had so much success. They have mitigated how many times they have a full 90 of poor play, and they're economical with the chances that they create, for the most part, at least. Because they really were rattled. They had a hard time keeping the ball, they were rushing when they did have the ball, which led to plenty of misplaced passes. I mean, their passing accuracy was mega low in that first half, just 66%. And when you compare that to the second half, where it was 85%, they were definitely lacking in sharpness in the first period. The possession showed that as well. For much of the first half, Villarreal were lingering around 55 to 60% possession. It wasn't until later in the half that Liverpool fought back in that regard, but it was also later in that half that Villarreal got a second goal. This time, much more deliberately, Dia and Couelin's cross to the back post was headed in brilliantly by Couelin to level things on aggregate. It was such a bizarre first half though, wasn't it? The team that typically sits back and hits Liverpool on the counter was betting on their more technically gifted players such as Gerard Moreno, Dia in the attack, while their speedsters in Chukwueze and Danjuma were either on the bench or not in the squad respectively. The outcome was a more possession-based approach, with balls to the back post being their focus. Liverpool, they had 2 attempts in the first half, neither of them on target, a rarity. But as I said, the times where Liverpool are that bad for an entire 90 minutes don't come along too often in their season, and this was no exception. The second half was a complete change, helped massively by how Luis Diaz changed the game as he replaced Jota at the half. The future for Liverpool is seemingly Sadio Mane as their central player, with Salah and Diaz on each flank, which is an interesting evolution considering Mane used to be a terror down the left for them. Now the Colombian is the terror, while Mane's presence in the box as a finisher has improved greatly. I guess the main story is that once again, Liverpool's depth in the attack has proven to be one of their strongest assets. And when that's coupled with an incredible man manager and motivator in Jurgen Klopp, this is the outcome. From being second best with not a ton of the ball and no attempts on target, the second half was flipped on its head, with Liverpool dominating the ball, improving their passing percentage from 66% to 85%, and having 13 attempts instead of just 2. Villarreal, nothing on target for them in the second half. That being said, they did have some help from Villarreal's keeper, Geronimo Rulli, shitting the bed a little bit. I defended him last week, but I simply cannot defend him this week as he was absolutely at fault for Fabinho's goal that went through his legs and what should have been a relatively simple save for a keeper competing in the Champions League, though I'm sure Karius would like to have a word, or Sven Ulreich for that matter. 5 minutes later and Luis Diaz made it 4-2 on aggregate. 7 minutes after that and Rulli was doing foolish things he had no business doing, such as moonlighting as a midfielder and essentially giving Liverpool an easy goal to make it 5-2 on aggregate. The expected scoreline in the end, if we're being realistic, but a scoreline that didn't have to be as pronounced if Villarreal had a bit more quality in goal. So Liverpool advanced to yet another Champions League final, their third in just 5 years, as Klopp became the first manager to ever make it to a Champions League final, League Cup, and FA Cup all in one season. He also equaled the record of making it to 4 Champions League finals, which he shared with Marcello Lippi, Sir Alex Ferguson, and Carlo Ancelotti. Hang on. Mourinho was right. Football heritage is real, and I know City fans won't be happy to hear this and will just chalk it up to, that's football. But Mourinho was right in my opinion. Football heritage is real, and Real Madrid certainly have a ton of it. With the likes of City and PSG, they're still, let's say, building their European story. Either football heritage is real, or Yaya Touré's agent was right about the African curse on Pep Guardiola. I don't know when I said this, whether it was in a video or on Twitter, but no team has provided more entertainment in this edition of the Champions League than Real Madrid, both through their deficiencies at times and their ridiculous, confounding ability to be able to pull themselves from the jaws of hell. I mean, I guess it's Not all that confusing because, again, when you have players like Benzema in your squad who has well and truly established himself as an alien this season, anything is possible. But let's start from the beginning. This match was mid in the first half. Not all that exciting. Half chances for each side beyond perhaps Bernardo Silva's very, very good opportunity that forced an excellent save out of Thibaut Courtois. Other than that, it was all over the bar and wide of the post from both teams. But the second half, Pep started by playing a bit of a waiting game, which I thought was the right way forward. See how Real Madrid changed their approach in the second half because they are the ones that need to force the issue and find a goal and adjust accordingly to what they do. What I did not expect was for him to take off Kevin De Bruyne for Ilkay Gundogan. I'm not saying Kevin De Bruyne was putting in a Zidane masterclass or anything like that, but he's a player I would want on the pitch late in a game. Respect to Gundogan and all that he offers, but they are different players. That was the first thing that made me raise my eyebrow. But with City attacking and making it 5-3 on aggregate through Mahrez, great run by Bernardo, great finish by Mahrez, that KDB substitution kind of got lost in the wash thanks to City going ahead. Maybe KDB was just fatigued or something, I'm not sure, but anyway, it looked as though City were cruising, but then once Real Madrid got one goal, I think all of us sort of had that reaction of, nah, they won't, right? I mean, they have in the past, but nah, they couldn't do it again, could they, right? Right? Of course they did. It wasn't Benzema who provided the goal, but he provided an assist for Rodrigo's first. Stunning little flicked finish from Rodrigo there, by the way. And then it was the winger who scored the equalizer with a header, of all things. Rodrigo winning a header against that City back line, it shouldn't happen. But the man's in form. He scored a brace on the weekend as well. This is how competitions are won and lost. Not that anyone has won it yet, but City have certainly lost it here. 2 minutes with a lack of focus, and a team like Real Madrid will kill you. A team like Liverpool as well will kill you and force you to rue all of those missed chances. That's why Pep was freaking out in the first leg when City were missing chances. Things like Grealish having his opportunity cleared off the line was integral for Real Madrid, as was that kick save from Courtois from Grealish's other attempt. These little moments add up, these little moments where Real Madrid were doing their job and City failed to do so. Then with the penalty, I mean, it was definitely a penalty, but even without it, you felt like the only outcome would be Real Madrid winning this thing. With City's confidence shot, and no doubt thinking back to past failures in a, oh no, not again kind of way, and with a Bernabeu behind Real Madrid, with game changers such as Benzema and quite clearly Rodrigo out there, it only ever felt like Real would take it. City were in shock, but that's football heritage, man. It's going to take some more time. City are certainly on the right track forward, but Real Madrid are just different gravy in this competition, in this stadium, which, by the way, the second leg at home for Real Madrid served them well in the round of 16, the quarters, and the semis. And by the way, once more, how glad are you that the away goals rule is gone? How much better have these knockout competitions been without teams being able to use the away goals as a crutch to sit back and be negative? It makes every tie a shootout. Whoever scores more goals over 180 minutes wins, and I love that, and I hope it stays that way. As for City, I kind of said it already. I know I always bang on about the mental side of things for clubs like PSG, and how once one goal goes in, they've already lost the mental game because they have no proof that they can get themselves out of a situation like this one last night. They haven't won it before. That happened with City as well, in my opinion. That and some shit marking from Ruben Dias and Laporte, I guess you could say. So Real Madrid are in the final once again for a rematch of the 2018 final that saw Loris Karius steal the show, for better or worse. Shout out Bale for that goal as well. Lost in all the Karius shenanigans. As I was speaking earlier, in a Klopp context, Ancelotti has now become the only manager in football history to make it to 5 Champions League finals, 3 with AC Milan winning twice, and now 2 with Real Madrid, of which, of course, he won the last one, which was La Decima. I can't wait for this game, to be honest. For me, Liverpool is probably the best team in the world at this moment overall, but Real Madrid are just a special side that simply does not lay down for anyone. Even if they are 2 goals down on aggregate in the 90th minute, they still fight, and thus far, they get their results. But pondering the final, that's exclusive content that will be free to you in our Champions League final preview video in the future. A big thank you for watching this video, guys. Very much appreciated. And a special shout out to everyone who made it out for our watch-alongs, our live streams this week. Dropped donations, engaged in the chat, made me laugh, provided their takes on the matches, or just watched the match with myself and hundreds of other football supporters from around the world. The vibes were immaculate, as always, and I do not take my privilege of being able to do this with you guys for granted. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow for a very special video. Ciao!